Welcome back to NTV Tonight, and with me on set I have the Principal Secretary for Labour and Skills Development, PS Shadrach Mwadime. The President has promised through different avenues that jobs will be created. I'm going to start with the quote-unquote export of skills. So there is a conference that is going on in the UAE where your CS is currently, and that is the Labour Migration Conference. So the President, speaking today at the Diaspora Investment Conference held at the KICC, spoke about negotiating a bilateral agreement such that we are not just exporting domestic workers, and I use the term very loosely, to the UAE, but also skilled professionals. So how are the negotiations going? How will this be different from the agreement in place?
Thank you for having me here, Olive. The reality of the situation is that the unemployment rate is extremely high in the country currently. Actually, in accordance with the statistics we have about 5 million young people out there who are unable to secure employment. You know, you're talking of primary school dropouts, secondary school, graduates. We are talking of graduates with first degree, second degree, sometimes even PhD holders. So this is a situation that this Kenya Kwanza administration has come out forthrightly, to address as comprehensively as possible.
Okay.
And therefore you are right in that we are not just concentrating on, manual work, manual workers, accessing these opportunities in the Western European countries and the Middle East, but also professionals. And indeed, that is the reason why our Cabinet Secretary is in Saudi Arabia currently negotiating with the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to ensure that we are able to secure employment opportunities for professionals. And mind you, in accordance with the statistics that we have, the Western European population is aging. The average age is 45 years. The average age, on the other hand, in Africa is about 19 years. So we have a fairly young population, and that is the reason why we are having the unemployment challenge. It's not a problem, it's a challenge that can be addressed, and therefore we have to go out of our way to ensure that these young people get engaged in employment opportunities that will be able to improve on their standard of living. Okay,
welfare is a big issue where certain countries are concerned. You hear reports of persons, and the story usually is they've not registered with the Kenyan representatives on the other side. So how is that going to be addressed?
Okay, so the bilateral labor agreement that we are negotiating, as it is currently with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, takes into consideration the human rights of our workers. I know Kenyans have been complaining bitterly concerning what our brothers and sisters have had to go through in Saudi Arabia, and that's the reason why we want to come up with a legal framework, an agreement with the government on how the rights of our Kenyans are going to be safeguarded. That is number one. But secondly, we have other strategies also to ensure that as they work in some of these countries, also they are able to have any of the issues addressed within the shortest period of time. The government has introduced a toll-free number, and it is manned by the National Employment Agency 24/7, so that in case Kenyans find themselves in a distressing situation out there, they can be able to reach out to the government and we can attend to the issue. Secondly, we are deploying more labor attaches so that we have government officers where they are working, and therefore they can be able to reach out to them easily and they can address the issues in a comprehensive way.
All right. So the President also spoke of 250,000 jobs that we are looking for in Germany. What kind of jobs are these? Okay,
so these jobs are basically geared towards engaging professionals, IT experts, industrial workers. Those are the kind of jobs that we are negotiating with the government, the federal government of Germany. And we're on track on the same. We hope that by mid next year, we'll be able to sign a bilateral labor agreement with the government of Germany. So it's purely skilled manpower. We are not going to export manual manpower.
So you have said 80?
IT, industrial workers, those who have background in sciences will be able to work in some of their industries. That is the second one. The third one is semi-skilled, where we have our young people working in the hospitality industry. You know, not necessarily as managers, but some of them even as waiters.
Okay. So where do they go to sign up for these jobs?
Okay, so we are yet to sign a BLA with the German government. The moment we're able to do so, these job opportunities will be available in the NEA website, the National Employment Agency website, where all these job orders will be posted in that website.
All right. So the other avenue through which jobs, the Kenya Kwanza administration has pledged to create jobs is on the digital highway, superhighway. The other day, the president spoke about the signing of the agreement, the CDF law that will enable the creation of ICT hubs in all the wards. Skills development is part of your portfolio. True. How does labor come into that?
Now, as you well put it, skills development goes with labor. I mean, you have to, first of all, build the capacity of workers to be able to access the jobs that are available both in the local and in the international market. Therefore, the hubs that we're intending, the digital hubs that we're intending to establish in wards, actually in TVETs, because that's where we will find a number of these young people available, and they'll be able to make use also of the equipments that are available within the TVETs, like computers and what have you. You know, these hubs that we're establishing are basically to improve on their skills, on how they will be able to access these online jobs. Because we are in competition, by the way, with most other African countries and the Western European countries themselves. And therefore, we need to have young people who have the requisite skills to be able to access these online jobs. That's the reason why we're establishing these hubs.
Okay, so when you say online jobs, what are we talking about? We
are talking of jobs that, you know, are open to the international labor market. These are jobs that the industries are basically located within the Western European country. We are talking of the companies that are working within the Silicon Valley, you know, and other companies that prefer not having employees within their geographical location, but they make use of, you know, employees out there in the international labor market. They may not, you know, be able to access these jobs physically. They don't need a visa, you know, they don't need a passport. From wherever they are, from the comfort of their homes, they're able to work and produce the results that are expected by the employers. I'm thinking of, say, even accountants being engaged in, you know, doing the accounts for some of these firms out there. I'm thinking of even human resource issues, you know, logistics, not necessarily being there physically, but while at the comfort of their homes, they are still able to assist these companies in coming up with the logistics required, in manning the logistics, you know, in the countries where they are operating. Okay, again, where can these opportunities be found? Is it Ajira? Is it the NEA website? Yes, so we have Ajira, we have Kazi Maju. Kazi Maju is under Ministry of Diaspora, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, but we also have the National Employment Agency also that is encouraging young people to post their skills, open accounts with them, so that the moment they're able to get these opportunities, they can appraise them on the same. But also our State Department has an online training program. There is one that is ongoing. As it is, it's a 5-week program. We advertised for it about 2 weeks ago. The program is such that the first week it will be purely training, but the remaining 4 weeks is on mentorship. So we get people from, you know, big companies like Safaricom and others to work with them and appraise them how they can be able to access some of these opportunities. So for a whole month, 4 weeks, they mentor them on the same. All right, so the FKE,
launched a report the other day which spoke of skills gap, especially because I know part of the effort to create employment is in the area of industrialization, value addition. And they did note a gap in the area of skills that can be used in the manufacturing sector. Your response to that?
Yes, so that is true. We are working very closely with the industry, because what is happening is most of our institutions are producing graduates who do not have the skills required in the market. You know, there is a gap. There is obviously a skills gap. So how are we addressing it? We've come up with a policy, you know, to be able to link up institutions with the players in the market, the industries, the companies, you know, so that they can appraise the institutions on the courses that young people should undertake to be prepared for the job opportunities that are available. So the policy was submitted to the cabinet yesterday. It was approved. The next step will be for us to take it to Parliament so that it's converted into a sessional paper before it's then released and it's made operational. So we are addressing it from that perspective. We've actually realized that there are gaps. There is no question about it. That's the reason why we have so many graduates, you know, who are tamarking out there. They spent 4 years in college, but the kind of degrees they have come out with are not really able to easily make them access job opportunities that are in the international market. And therefore, the need to bridge that gap by bringing together the industries and the institutions.
Right. It sounds like you're working closely with the State Department for Higher Education.
Yes, yes,
in
we
this
are.
endeavor. All right. Finally, housing. The president today spoke of, is it today or yesterday, 500,000 jobs in 5 years. Courtesy of the housing sector, there are those who are not entirely convinced. What do you say to them? Because he told us, what, 120,000 already employed in the factories, supplying material and transportation.
We would want to convince Kenyans that this particular program will create a lot of employment opportunities, you know, for our young people. Not only in terms of, you know, skilled manpower, but also the ones who do not have skills, but were able to do certification because of their experience. So we're talking of painters, for example.
And where are you drawing them from?
We are drawing them from the open market, you know. We are allowing NITA, that is the National Industrial Training Authority, to go out there, you know, aggressively campaign to have them come to our centers so that we can do certification. Yeah? Because there are quite a number of young people who actually have the skills, but they don't have the certificates. So it becomes impossible for them to be employed. And therefore, certification is critical. But think of quantity surveyors, you know, think of civil engineers, think of architects, you know. All these people with various professional backgrounds, with various careers, will be employed in our housing project, you see. So it's both skilled and unskilled who will actually be able to benefit, you know, from this very ambitious project that we have.
All right, PS, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us this evening. PS Shadrack Mwadime, and he is the PS Labor and Skills Development. I saw kidogo your CS alikuwa nakaribia. Ako hapo boundary ya red line. You saw that ranking?
That is going to improve.
By TIFA?
I can tell you that with confidence that going forward it's going to improve, because we are going to be very aggressive in looking for the employment opportunities that our young people need, and therefore their rating will obviously be different a year down the line.
All right. Thank you very much. We take a break, and TV Tonight continues on the other side.